Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, I want to talk about the new interiors on the F150s. Historically, Ford has released the new design of the interiors for the F150s first, and then shortly after that, maybe 2 years, typically 2 years after that, the Super Duty would get the same interior or very similar interior as the F-150. It'd be the same IP, maybe a few differences here and there. Super Duties typically have column shifters over center console shifters that you typically find in the 150s, but at the end of the day, it's a very similar IP. It makes for a more efficient production process when you have some redundancies in the design where so many more vehicles have this similar interior. So it's safe to assume that the new updates of the F-150 very well could make their way into the Super Duty. And the question really is this an improvement? Is it an improvement really to have this new interior that is in the 150 in the Super Duties? Now, right now, the Super Duties are getting updates. I believe in 2022, they have a bigger screen. I don't know if it's a 22 model year or 23 model year, but they do have the bigger screen and a new updated sync infotainment system. But the instrument panel, the dashboard, the glove box, all that stuff remain the same. They just put an updated screen on the truck. So it's hard to say if they'll actually go ahead and update the whole Super Duty instrument panel. I think they will. I do think they will. I think the Super Duties are probably going to get a similar instrument panel to the 150. So let's jump inside of this truck and talk about some of the pros and cons that I've kind of found dealing with the driving the 150. All right, so inside of my 2020 F150, it's got the power boost, and I actually borrowed this truck. This is my wife's daily driver. I ended up needing to take it because I had jury duty, and I drove the truck, and I've driven a truck before, but I never really just driven it just because. I've always driven the truck because it was just available. I was just for a video. I never really got in it in the morning, headed to a destination, which is what I ended up doing as I was going to jury duty. And the first thing I noticed, I got up early, made my cup of coffee, and the first thing I noticed, the coffee wouldn't fit, guys. And I'm like, what the heck? This fits in my Super Duty. And I'm thinking, like, for Ford to come out with a new interior, something as small as the cup holders, I mean, why are they smaller now? So I kind of messed around, like, do I put it here? Do I put it in here? And yeah, it was kind of like I had nowhere to put it. I could kind of do that. And what I ended up doing, that's too far. It's going to spill trying to get it out. What I ended up doing is just holding it the whole time and driving with one hand. It kind of was a disaster. So that was one of the things I didn't like, is that the cup holders now aren't that great. I mean, they aren't bigger, and coffee mugs aren't fitting. But another couple things that were kind of new, updated, that I didn't like is, for whatever reason, they moved the volume controls to the left hand side. And as a guy that's been driving a lot of Ford trucks for a long time, it's not intuitive to get into this truck and have the volume controls on the left hand side, and then some of the other controls that used to be on the left hand side over to the right hand side. So I don't know why that had to move and who made that call to move that, but it makes it less intuitive. Now, the design of the buttons is definitely different now, but to put the buttons on the left, the volume on the left, and more of the controls, it throws me off every time I get in this truck. And I'm coming out of the older model trucks. Everything before kind of was on the same ecosystem, if that makes any sense, but now it kind of messes you up. Not a huge deal, but still. So let's turn it on. Hopefully the music's not blasting. I'm gonna pause this for a second, make sure there's no music or anything, but I definitely enjoy the way this new center stack looks. The room in the truck feels pretty good because it's really like kind of flat. I think they actually maybe pushed it forward an inch. The way it looks is very modern. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't look cheap or anything like that. The new, like I say, the screen has just been phenomenal. Using the features of the truck and being able to see the power flow is cool. Tells you why the engine's on. This is a hybrid, so we do get all that. But this truck did not get the power or the workstation, but it still has the power folding. Gear selector. Very nice, but very useless for me because I don't have this. I didn't want to pay when I built this truck. I didn't want to pay extra money to have that. I kind of wish I did in hindsight, but it was like $200, and I kind of built this truck to be as cheap as possible, but have everything that I want. It's an XLT. It's got cameras. It's got all kinds of interesting stuff. But I don't know. I cheaped out on some things, and that was one of them. I'm not sure for the couple $100. I'm not sure how much I would have used the workstation, but. Anyway, I want to jump over to my other truck. Let's jump over to the Super Duty and see what the differences are. Alright, so even though that interior looks better, again making sure there's no audio, but even though that interior looks better, this old Super Duty interior functions a lot better. And just please excuse the mess. I've been working in the truck, so. But check this out, guys. Mug kind of fits, right? Kind of fits in there. That could work. But if the mug doesn't fit there, guess what? It sits right there, no problem. And I've put a lot of mugs in here, bigger than this one, and they can just sit in here. Now this opening is bigger and allows more mugs to fit. This one doesn't quite fit, but it will sit there and it will kind of be okay. Now another thing, Ford engineering at its finest. Boom. Look at that. You slide this thing over. Now this mug is super safe. Super safe. But I got a mug even bigger than this, and I can just set that thing right here and be good to go. Now that new interior does look better. Don't get me wrong. It definitely looks a lot better. But this is what I'm talking about. A lot less going on. Volume up, down. Volume is up on the top, down on the bottom. Left hand selectors to get through your infotainment right here. When I'm surfing the infotainment on my wife's 150 or the instrument panel, whatever you want to call it, when I'm searching through there, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like this is so intuitive how left arrow and right arrow moves you through the tabs. This almost resembles a folder, like a filing cabinet. So I don't know. I don't know why this whole thing. I get that they wanted to upgrade the buttons and stuff, but I just wish they could have done that without switching the left function to the right and the right function to the left. And now the Ford, every other Ford vehicle that I've driven had volume controls on the right, so and functions on the left. So it's kind of it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of So looking over here at the center console, I hope nothing critical is in here, but again, functions well. This is kind of my setup here. I got a tire pressure gauge, got some deodorant. I could take that out though. I don't need deodorant in here, but just in case, there's some deodorant in here. And I use this area here as a file organizer, and I do believe you can still do that, I think, with the other model or the new model. But yeah, this is my file organizer. Important documents I stick in there. Yeah, so this center console, nice, very nice. There's a little scratch there from the factory. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, pretty straightforward and nice. The actual seats, I'll probably give a slight advantage to the new F150 when it comes to seats. They're maybe a little more comfortable, but nothing crazy. This area, this stuff, pretty good. But yeah, I don't feel like that 150 interior, I mean, it definitely looks better and all that, but it doesn't totally crush the Super Duty interior. Now I think when they bring that new stuff over to the Super Duty, Hopefully they don't start forcing different shifters down our throats, because guys that have been plowing snow for a long time, we're very much used to these column shifters. I mean, look how quickly I shift this thing. Like when I'm plowing, I've gotten this thing down to like a science, like reverse, drive. It's down to a science. So hopefully they don't mess with that. I mean, the way that it feels and the longevity, I mean, as much shifting as I'm doing, and I've never had a shifter issue. I couldn't imagine plowing snow and having to deal with that electronic shifter, which is very nice and it's cute and all that stuff. But that thing, that electronic shifter, can it handle the abuse of me plowing snow? I don't know. The column shifter is just better. Hopefully they never do that. Hopefully they never mess with that, because if I shift, my hand's right here in the steering wheel. I've got to come all the way down here and shift and then come. I don't know. It's not going to be as good. And I know a lot of Dodge guys had got forced into using a dial to shift their Dodge trucks, and that's just terrible. And I'm sorry that happened to Dodge drivers, but Ford so far has not done that. But comment below and tell me what you guys think about the interiors on the new Fords. I definitely love what they've done. I think they made the best interior in the market. But for if Ford is watching this, please, when the Super Duties come out, please make sure that you don't slim down the cup holders. I know we're all trying to slim down a little bit, but we need these biggie cup holders, guys, for our big coffee mugs. But anyway, my name's Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you guys in the next one. Over and out.